we're just bullshitting, getting ready, letting folks hop in. So
I'm just gonna
that's
shut
it.
out my thing here.
If the name wasn't taken, I would have called us world-class bullshitters.
Dude, I watch a lot of world-class bullshitters. I like those guys. They're pretty cool. I love how when you watch their videos, it starts out like you're about to listen to some type of like happy-go-lucky fucking TV show newscast, and then it turns into the dude literally bitching about Star Wars.
Alright, I have a question, guys. Since I've got every fucking book that Pathfinder put up, is it fucking right? Yes, it is. But since I've got every fucking book put out, does anybody know of any Pathfinder classes, races that they'd like to see added just because you rarely see them? Or should I just work on that this week?
I would just work on that stuff this week.
Let's not count our chickens just yet.
Because we're basically rebooting this whole goddamn stream and campaign and how we're doing everything anyway.
Yeah, we're going with a different direction.
Sexual hobbits.
We are going to cover a couple of things. Catfolk exist, but they're largely from the south.
Oh my god!
See, now you done.
Now you're pandering.
Now you got
I'm going list by list. Drow are not dark skinned. They are pale. They're albino with big eyes.
So they look like anime characters.
No, they look like albinos.
Yeah, he's right. He's right.
We are going to stick with the same crazy pyromaniacs that goblins are in Pathfinder.
Okay. Oh, by the way, do you know? There's also. Have you ever heard of the meme of the bad joke goblin? I think one particular instance is where does the necromancer go to refuel his spells?
Oh god.
The gas station.
I thought it was the brothel for a moment there.
Alright, anyway. Hobgoblins, if you know what those are, they're the more militaristic. We're going to say they live in the north, that they live on the mountains on the other side of the northwest.
Alright.
So we're doing the whole War of the North scenario.
Never heard of it. But largely nobody's heard of the hobgoblins since they got their ass kicked in about a century ago.
Never heard of the... Oh, it's sort of a reference to some...
JT?
It's like a... Yeah.
JT, do you know what the first rule of comedy is? Don't explain the joke. As the Joker said, if you have to explain the joke, there is no joke.
So anyway, we're going to say that the hobgoblins have themselves a kingdom empire. Nobody's sure what. We're going to say they do some trade across the mountains, largely for steel and iron. So once in a while, you guys have seen halflings. Freaks, we're going to skip. I'm not going to rule that as a playable character class. Okay, which kind of kobolds do we want? Do we want the reptilian retards? Do we want the kobold dragon blood supremacists? Or do we want the small but Spartan and quiet peoples that do menial work? Or do we want all three?
3 was sounding good.
I'd say option C with a tiny amount of option B. Except with option B, it's a case of nobody likes talking to those people because they try and act like they're hot shit.
Okay, so we have two different types. We have the civilized, the savage, and the assholes. Well, 3 different types.
All right, guys, I need you to post your character avatars into the Skype. I'm gonna add them onto the screen so people can see what our character avatars look like.
Okay, what size do they need to be?
Just send them to me. It doesn't matter what size they are.
You need my little guy?
Well, I mean, if you have like something that you need the stream to see, yes.
Okay.
Because I know you're not really you're the DM, so I know you're going to be multiple characters throughout. But I just mainly wanted all the PCs so that I could put them in the corner there. Since we're not really using the map tonight, we're going to be using the other.
Okay. I hadn't done anything to it, so it's kind of huge. I didn't crop it or anything.
I'm not worried about it. Just send it to me. I'm gonna download it and just put it on there. Trust me, I know what I'm doing.
I know you know. I'm just telling you.
You got a freckly looking one here.
It wasn't what I was going for, but hey, it's okay.
It works.
Okay, we're going to say that the Rat folk are largely in the central part of the city, and they're mostly... we're going to go with they're more traders and bargainers and move around. Basically, they're pretty much... do you guys know what the Beaker people refers to?
No.
I've never heard that term.
Okay.
Hey, JT, I got yours. Mildred, I just need yours now. Go ahead, Rawls. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to help you.
The Beaker people were early traders. They basically moved around. Went from city to city, all that good stuff, trading.
Ah.
So that's basically what rat folk do.
Yeah.
So and that pretty much covers the alternate races they have.
Yeah.
So we have rat folk.
Yes.
Nice.
Everybody likes rat folk.
Tastes like chicken. I'm sorry.
That's gross. I hope you know that.
Don't judge me.
I will.
I'm not gonna say it.
Oh, I'm judging. I'm judging.
You guys are judging me so hard.
We're going to say the Empire's been around for over... We're going to say it's coming up on 1,000 years.
All right.
1,000 years ago, a war happened.
That
Out
always
of
makes...
nowhere.
That
It
always
never changes.
but,
War never
always
changes.
good fiction.
And it was established that they would put something in there for some reason.
Okay,
to
let's
make the
stop
story
talking
more
over the
interesting.
DM before he burns us all alive as witches at the
Yeah.
stake.
No, I just go quiet and let you guys carry on.
No, go ahead, Ralts.
Go ahead, Routes.
All right, so we've got 1,000. We've got the Empire's been around for 1,000 years. That's a good steady baseline. We're going to say it's primarily human, but with one odd little thing. The majority of your nobility and permanent bureaucrats seem to be half-elves.
Ha ha ha.
And the king is...
Mainly because half-elves get a charisma... Well, half-elves can take a charisma boost.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go with pretty much your nobility and your high-end bureaucrats. Well, your nobility definitely breeds for looks over intelligence, where your bureaucrats breed for intelligence over and looks over ethics, so wisdom. So that puts a little bit of tension because it's obvious that our city-state here that you guys live in, one of the most common complaints of the man on the street is that the Empire doesn't even know your name. I mean, nobody's seen an actual Imperial Legion in a decade. If the traders still come through, you guys see the tax man. Make no mistake there. The Empire sends the tax man around.
So the taxman hunts down people.
That's why you know the Empire still exists, you know, because the taxman cometh.
Okay, I'm just gonna interrupt real quick. Mildra, I still need yours. Wait, never mind. I guess that's yours, right? No, that's a rage power. Never mind. So when you're ready, let me know. Go ahead and let me know once you send your avatar in. Okay.
All right, hang on a second, because because technology does not like me tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Yep.
Okay. Nurgle, your people, the orcs, used to dwell up in the forest to the north, but about 4 generations ago, about 60 years ago, it started getting colder. And the herd animals started moving south. When you all went south, you know, at first, you know, your people had clashed with the Empire, you know, forever. But then when your people were forced south and you saw just when your tribal leaders and war chiefs saw just what you were looking at, which was thousands and thousands and thousands of legionnaires armed with steel with armor, your people went, how about if we settle? No war.
Wow, so the orcs decided not to be assholes this one time.
Yeah, mainly because, you know, your people were moving in a pretty large group, and about a week after you crossed the border, when you woke up, there was the Imperial Legions. And we're like, yeah, let's not take on an emplacement. We've got our women with us. We've got our kids with us. We're hungry. And for once, you know, we're gonna say that the Empire did the Roman thing of, we'll accept you as citizens, providing you act as soldiers. Which, if you think about it, you know, as a player, it was really smart because it enabled them to break the tribes up and send them to different cities. So once your once your grandfather and great grandfather did their time in the legions, your families were complete citizens. You know, imperial citizens with all the rights.
Okay. So that means I'm gonna figure out a background for this chick. Okay.
As a witch, you'd be pretty well respected in the orc community, since your patron is healing. And notice I did throw some healing spells in there.
Yeah.
How about we throw in that you're either a member of the Healers Guild, you a member of the Midwives Guild, or you do a lot of charity work?
Yeah, because what was the alignment that you gave her?
I do believe. Let me look at this real quick.
Okay, I keep forgetting I don't need the Pathfinder.
You are neutral good.
Neutral good. Okay, that works. Yeah, because that is the way I want this character to grow. Because I want her to grow away from the healing side over time. So
that's fine.
As long as that's okay, right? Because I want her to start out as this and then slowly grow her to be no longer a healer into being a. And I want her to go darker.
Okay, now for those of you that were a fan of actual Cannibal Shia LaBeouf, we're going to make sure that this setting, this campaign world, supports things like that out there. So the horror aspect is going to be there.
Sweet. So we're technically doing Ravenloft without Ravenloft.
Well, you know, their hauntings are real.
There's always been like ghost crap in D&D.
We're being asked about what happened to our previous campaign. Okay, let me go ahead and explain to you guys what happened. Because it's been over a month since we've run a game, we decided we're going to restart everything, but we're going to start from scratch. Ralt is basically winging it tonight, going from scratch. and we get new characters. We're going to do a whole new campaign because the Ravenloft thing, we haven't done so much in it. Hell, we forgot where the fuck we even were. Because we haven't been able to be consistent for the past few months, or for like the past month and a half. So we're starting afresh. We're going to do this, and eventually we will go back to Ravenloft, and we'll do that stuff again. But for now, until we keep everything as consistent, we're going to be running this.
Yeah.
Not that this campaign's not going to continue, you know. We're going to keep running this campaign. It's just we're making it a little more with a little more flexibility for the ability that if, say, a certain player's not able to make it that evening, or if I can't stream it that night, you know, stuff like that. So we've all changed our characters, and now I am now a female half-orc witch.
And I've gone from being a religion-obsessed swordsman to being a barbarian.
Yeah. I became a monk and decided to play cleric. That's a dwarf.
And I'm still waiting for Mildred to send me his damn avatar for his character.
Look in fucking Skype.
You didn't say anything.
Oh, by the way, your dwarf worships metal and stone, so there's no dwarven god.
Mm.
We're gonna run it without dwarven gods.
Mm.
I don't think the elves would be much into gods either. I think they'd be more into hippie tree worship.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
That makes sense.
Where normally, you know, wizards and the like are a elf's preferred class, I think we're gonna state like druid and ranger are an elf's preferred class.
Thank you.
That makes sense. We could go with but like, you could just go with calling them wood elves. Is basically what they are.
Actually, that I was thinking, but you know, we don't need to be that specific. Shit.
We don't need to be that specific. I'm not gonna do an elf for every fucking landscape.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
But let's see, dwarves are mainly from the big ancient holds. We're gonna say that the dwarves have two things. Number one, there's the big ancient holds. We're talking, you know, the Mines of Moria shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then outside of them, you have stone buildings, you know, fortress cities that look more like Minas Tirith did in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
Now, every dwarf wants to live inside the halls. Every dwarf does. But the only way you can do that is to go out and make a name for yourself by either concluding a big trade deal, finding a rich strike, something like that. So that kind of gives you motivation as a cleric to go out and, you know, search the world, see if you can find maybe one of the lost holds, you know, find a major metal strike, something like that, and earn your way inside, because that's where the rich people live. And we are going to get rid of the 20 male dwarfs for every female dwarf. I've always hated that. And we're going to go where it's slightly male higher, about 1.2 to 1, but not completely unbalanced. Because any race, because in D&D, dwarves and humans can interbreed. Any race that has 20 males for one female is going to be an extinct race within generations.
Mm.
So we're going to go with basically balanced.
Okay.
But we're also going to say that the big thing is we're going to make it where Dwarven society is a matriarchy. Because your average Dwarven male is happy with 4 stone walls and a fucking pile of furs. It's the women that like all the wealth, and so they collect wealth and power. But we'll go with the clerical is male dominated. How does that sound?
Works for me.
Yeah.
Okay, you're the dwarf.
Yeah.
Does it work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, half elves. Half elves, like we said, when the When the elven nomads come by with their singing and their dancing and their carnival games, and then they leave, about 9 months later, half elves show up. But elves don't consider you elf; they consider you a human.
Right, I get that. That jives with most of the stuff I read, so that's cool.
Alrighty then.
Woohoo.
Oh, I gotta put Raltz's icon up for him.
It's so friggin' cute.
I gotta put his up. I think I'll put him in the corner there, so because he's the narrator.
So, was it your mother or your father there that was the orc?
My mother or my father?
Oh my god.
Shit. Hold on. Let me do this. Hold on. I got this. Roll. Yeah, slash
Narrator.
roll.
He didn't really have this.
Father. We'll go with father. Father was the orc.
Right. Your mother had a thing for
Mother had a thing for green penis.
And she wore army boots.
and we're not gonna go with the old, oh, your mother was a prostitute or a rape victim.
I almost went with it, but that's fine.
We're gonna go with let's go with father was a guard on the walls. And mother was a trade wife. Know what I meant? You know what I mean by that?
I kind of understand what a trade wife is. Kind of.
Basically the traditional wife.
Okay. So she's like Susie Homemaker.
Yeah. So basically,
Yeah.
Married for economical reasons.
unlike most half-orcs that you see in games, no, it wasn't this fucking life of rape and all that stuff. You actually grew up, pretty spoiled.
So we're more like this version of the orc race is a much more civilized variant of orcs. They're not they're not the straight up barbaric orcs.
Right. Now, I'm going to flat out say there are going to be barbaric orcs out there, but orcs like you kind of look down on them because they're fur-wearing idiots picking berries and eating raw rabbits. And what kind of retard does that for a living?
Now, that makes sense. I like it. I like where you're going with that. That's an interesting take on that's an interesting take on fucking orcs for me, though. It's very unique. So I like it.
Folk uses silverware and shit.
We know how to use the fork.
So, how full on stereotypical am I gonna end up being simply because barbarian?
You can be you can be a barbarian with the magic is what led to the downfall of the other kingdoms. Magic makes people weak. Flesh, blood, human hardiness is what makes it. Reliance on the gods is for the weak and pathetic.
That's more where I was leaning of, because when I was trying to put things together in my head, the idea that I had with him was that he is somebody who very much opts to strike out on his own and do things his way. And something like magic it's not that he goes ballistic every time he sees a mage, but it's more of I got where I am by my own grit, and you're here relying on other people, kind of thing.
Man, you're not gonna like me, are you?
You can also say that you're also, if you want, you can say you're anti-imperial too.
As far as that goes, I don't think. As far as the whole imperial part, I don't think he cares. He just sees it's just the case of no matter imperial, non-imperial, all I see are just a bunch of assholes in fancy hats.
Assholes and fancy hats. I like that.
There we go.
Like he literally does. it is very that whole thing is very low on his give a shit list.
Makes sense to me.
Alright, so we got the dwarf who is out to make somewhat of a name for himself.
Mm-hmm.
A worshiper of stone and metal.
Yes.
We've
Very
got
hard, very hard stone and metal.
the half-elf who, let's see, need a good motivation for her. You got a good motivation by chance, Dad?
I was kind of thinking of something like maybe she has a lot of siblings and was expected to conform and she just fucking left. But I hadn't really fleshed it out. I'm sorry. I was yelling at boy.
Well, actually, that works with what you said. You're, we could say your family's kind of entrenched in the city politics and city bureaucracy.
Yeah,
You
that was
conform being a half elf, and you're like, I hate the stuffiness. I prefer being out in the woods.
I'm out of here.
Mm.
Yeah, that actually was kind of what I was going for. So, yay! Sorry.
Chat says your character Roman is looking for a man. I said an orcish man.
Yeah, right. That's why she left. Fuck that. No way.
It's okay. We pretty much got it down. Now, nobody really goes across the river. The main bridge across the river was dropped about 40 years ago, deliberately, when a bunch of goblins came ravaging across. And you know, once they get into a city, it takes years to dig all the little fuckers out.
Mm-hmm.
So they dropped the bridge because those two kingdoms collapsed over 100 years ago.
Oh God.
I mean, there's towns and stuff out there according to the traders. You know, the rat folk who ply the highways and sell goods, but none of them are banded together much more than a warlord that has like a half dozen towns.
Okay.
So there's that. So let's see. Now let's see. It's a pretty good sized city. Like I said, 25,000 people. That's a lot. There's a working sewage system.
Yay.
Mainly the sewage system and street sweeping and stuff like that is handled by the kobolds.
Oh.
You know, they don't mind that work. They like that work.
Okay.
Small spaces don't bother them. Like we said earlier, there are quiet people who, you know, don't really bother people.
Yeah.
They like to be left alone. And the funny thing is we're going to say where they live. When they were building the wall, which is incomplete on the east side, which is the Empire side, they had all those blocks stacked up they were going to use. Well, they never used them. Well, you know how after a while some of the blocks will crumble and you'll end up with spaces and gaps in there?
Yeah.
The kobolds live in those piles of stone.
That makes sense.
Of course, you know, if you think it's just some blank cave with some scribbles on it, you're wrong, because, yeah, they may only earn a few coppers a week, but that shit piles up. We're going to put the tech level at steel. There's plate armor, but nobody really makes it anymore because there hasn't been a need for it.
Yeah.
The Empire's been at peace. So the tech level is pretty good there. How high magic do you want this? Do you want to be low magic, medium, high magic? Are we talking magical street lights, or are we talking
to the point where it's equal? Like, it doesn't always have to be magic, but
so a blend of magic and technology?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic streetlights and cistern indoor. You know what cistern-based indoor plumbing is?
I think so. Somewhere.
That's where there's the large rain barrels on the top of every roof that collect the cisterns.
Okay, that's what you call it. Okay, yeah, that's cool. That works.
So we're going to say limited indoor plumbing. Magical lighting's common. Your bigger food markets have your big food distributors and food storage have use cold spells to keep meat and vegetables cold. So we'll use magic is also used for luxuries, but magic wears out quick, so that's why the Mage Guild is a major force in politics. And also the majority of the construction is done via stone. So I would say we've got a good basis for knowing where we are. Do we want to go with the Roman? Do we want to go with Rome or Ottoman or 14th century London for building size?
Let me randomize it.
Just random?
Yeah, let's see here. Let's see. 1, 2, Roman, Ottoman, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. What's the last one?
London.
London?
Circa 14th century.
We got a 2. So I guess that's Roman.
Roman, Jesus Christ. You got... Okay, you guys know what an isla is?
I can't say I don't.
Okay, an isla is an apartment building where the bottom floor is an open courtyard, kind of with shops on either side, and it has about 100 to 200 apartment suites in it. You know, that's Roman architecture back then. Do we have a Colosseum? Did they build a Colosseum, or is it unfinished or nothing at all?
Let me do a 50-50, 1 through 3.
No. We've got started but not finished. We've got not started, and we've got finished. So,
all right. So we'll go in order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1.
We've got no Colosseum. So let's replace that with a. Give me another die. Give me another die 6.
2.
2. We've got a major theater.
Okay.
And a swimming pool?
Yes, and a swimming pool. No. Actually,
and a partridge in a pear tree.
We've got the old Roman baths going on.
That works.
So we're going to be going with pre-Black Plague levels of cleanliness, if you know how high that was.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, pre-Black Plague was people were seriously clean.
Really? Pre-Black Plague?
Pre-Black Plague? What stopped bathing in medieval Europe was 2 things. The Black Plague was waterborne. One of the variants of the Black Plague at the time was waterborne.
Oh, okay.
I think we're building a universe out of this whole thing.
Actually, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Campaign setting.
Yeah. So for folks coming in, we're just setting up the world right now.
Yeah.
This is effectively our session 0.
And I got a weird idea. How about we make royalty? Probably a dragon would probably be, but
How
a dragon would probably rule the kingdom.
Wait a minute. Give me a die 6. Wait.
Yeah.
Actually, let's throw this up. Let me throw it up in chat real quick.
Yeah.
Give me just a second.
Yeah. Be a dragon king or something like that. I don't know. There would be a dragon king.
1 dragon?
Yeah, 1 dragon that rules us all.
All right. We rolled a 1.
You rolled a 1 already? I didn't even say what type of die to roll.
Okay. My bad. Go ahead and finish it. I was going by D6. That's my default is D6. I'm a Warhammer guy, okay?
Yeah. 1 dragon to rule them all.
We do all this. We do this shit on
And he
Why
became
can't there be pyramids? We was
who rules the empire.
Magocracy? The hell is a magocracy?
It's basically
Magocracy. Oh, magocracy. Is that what you mean by it?
Yeah.
Okay. So what am I rolling? A D6?
God damn it! Give me a minute. It's fucking giving me a minute. Somebody type in 7 Oligarchy. Oligarchy.
Oh, is that OG?
Oligarchy.
We can make it a aristocracy.
Okay. Oh, okay. There you go.
And for 8, let's go with. Oh God. Okay, roll a die 8.
D8I.
Yeah, because the question is, who would rule the country?
Roll an
Who would
8.
Rule the empire.
You rolled an 8?
Yes.
The empire is a republic.
Interesting. 9. Kangs.
Yes.
So I put option 9. Kangs.
So it's a republic with a senate.
Alright, I'm gonna go grab a soda. I'll be right back. You guys keep on going.
Happens to empires that are republics. They start to crumble.
Yep.
Roll me a die 4, Mildred. Tell me what you get.
Hey, give me a second. The golfer's favorite number. 4.
Okay. So the Senate has been in power for 200 years. Meaning, do we want to do that the emperor still exists, but he's a figurehead?
Yeah.
I'd like that.
Yeah. The emperor could be a dragon or something. I don't know.
Jeez, you were really on about this.
I was like, what's the deal with the dragon?
Yeah, he's a dragon, but he's been asleep.
Oh, I love it!
Yeah, that's the whole the premises of the idea of it. He's a dragon who rules, and he sleeps, but he has also a representative that because he protects the kingdom.
All right, I'm back.
From
Which
evil.
means a lot of the empire uses dragon motif.
Yeah.
Which means
Is our
Not
leader's
regular.
name Trogdar?
not it. We're not going to use Egyptian pyramids. Let's use the Aztec ziggurats.
Nice.
Here in
We could always go with, yeah, you can go with that or even the Mayan imagery.
yeah,
Well, the Aztecs and Mayan imagery are about the same.
yeah.
They're very similar.
Yeah.
Throw me another die 8.
Gotcha. 7.
And what was that again?
I rolled a 7.
I know. What 7 was a Ogliarch. Okay, the kingdom to the northwest, which is collapsed, was an Ogliarch. And give me another one, please. Another die 8.
1.
That was a dragon. No, we can't do dragon again. Give me another one.
8. That's
Another one?
Republic. Another one? 2.
2, what was that?
Shit, let me scroll back up. Immortal.
So they used to have an immortal. The kingdom to the southeast used to be ruled over by an immortal who fucking died, and the whole thing came apart at the seams and took the one to the northeast with it.
Isn't that kind of contradictory, being that was ruled by an immortal?
You've seen Highlander, haven't you?
There can only be one.
Give me a die 4. Let's see how he died.
All right, let's do it. We are talking a 2.
A 2.
Yeah.
He was killed.
He was killed.
Yep, you can kill an immortal.
I guess so.
Did 5 different people shoot him, stab him, drown him, poison him, and beat his head in?
We'll do it that the Kingdom of the Northeast did it.
Cool.
That gives a reason why the one in the Northeast fucking collapsed. Let's see. We're on the silver standard, which means all prices in the player's handbook are replaced with silver pieces. Or do we really want to go weird and use representative currency?
Well, like paper money?
Like, yeah, paper money and ceramic pieces.
Hmm.
Which means when you find gold pieces, you're finding a barbaric trove, a foreign trove, or an old trove.
I gotcha. Slash roll. We'll do 6. 1 through 3 is non-representative. 4, 5, 6 is. Sound good?
Yep.
4.
4, representative it is.
So we're using paper money and ceramics. So that means we actually have a functioning economy throughout this landscape. We're not just trading rare metals between each other.
For how powerful the banks are. Let's see if they're like the Fruger banks of Germany, or if they're like the banks of Rome, or if like now.
I was gonna say Bank of America.
Okay. Wells Fargo.
Give me a die 6.
6.
Holy fuck! They're like now.
So they have. So it's a pretty high functioning economy then.
Banks with a lot of power.
Woo! That's not necessarily good.
This is a fucking powder keg waiting to go off. Give me a die 10. If it's a 1 or 2, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be kind of interesting. 1 or 2 or 9 or 9 or
5.
10.
We got a 5.
Yeah. I was seeing if there was cannons at all on the city walls. Nope. No cannons, no firearms.
Oh, okay.
They
I
took
see
away
what
the
you're doing.
guns.
Yep. Okay, and last but not least, let's see. I will make up a set of gods later.
So, well, they said so. It's like Canada. Go ahead, man.
Let's see. We'll have I'll put up a pantheon later. Give me another die 6. Let's see if we've got a. Let's see if we've got what we've got nowadays with multiple pantheons in the same country striving for dominance.
4.
4. Yes, we do. 2 major, 2 minor.
Destroyer says this is going to turn into a giant shit show. Also, are we London? Nope, we went with Roman. Main city is Roman. Or is Romanesque.
You know, can you imagine if a law came down that said dwarves couldn't vote? There'd be fucking riots in the streets.
Damn. Oh, he says means by no guns.
And I'm back. Sorry about that.
Well, I guess he's just going on what type of stage of technology we're in at this moment. Are we using powder guns? Were we using muskets? So we're going with having no firearms and no cannons. Right. So we're not using. I kind
of like the idea of cannons that are on the walls that nobody knows how to use. What do you guys think of that?
I'm perfectly fine with that. Although,
but like the people that knew how to use them have been long dead, so nobody understands how they're supposedly used at all.
Yeah.
Although here's a question to consider. Why would anybody be using firearms when magic has a fair bit of
I can answer this. Okay, you've got a crew working on a cannon, right? and you hit one dude in the face with a crossbow, can the cannon still function?
Yeah, if there's somebody to work it.
How long does it take to train a cannon crew?
Probably takes a while.
A month, maybe 2?
Yeah.
Okay. You got your mage up there casting fireballs. He takes a fucking crossbow to the forehead. How many other guys can take his slack?
I don't know.
How long does it train him to throw a fireball?
Years.
Well, probably it takes a shorter span of time, being that it's just so they're teaching them how to throw a fireball.
But we're gonna go with defunct cannons. Nobody really knows what they do. Everybody thinks they're decorations.
Until one of them fires one day, like, oh, so that's what they for.
And we're gonna say over the decades, centuries, the cannonballs look like skulls.
So this is what Wolverine said in the chat. I like what he's going with here. It takes years, if not decades, to learn magic. You can teach Billy the shit farmer to fire a gun in an hour or less.
Yep.
Yep.
He ain't gonna be good at it.
Okay, Myth's new question is, wait, can everybody perform magic, or is it just a select few who have natural talent?
Let's roll. Give me a percentile dice.
How do we roll percentiles?
D100.
Slash roll 100.
Yep.
That was actually going to be my next question.
D100. We got a 62.
62. All right, we're going to go with 1 out of 10 people are magically active.
Woo!
Yay.
That's a pretty decent amount of magic users, isn't it?
That explains why magic is being used for like street lights, for like sterilizing the baths, stuff like that. That's why magic items are somewhat prolific.
I just have this image of somebody converting a magic wand into something akin to a pistol.
I don't think you can do that.
Give me a dice 6 real quick.
I got a 4.
4. Give me another one. See if it's male or females that suffer it.
1.
Well, here's something interesting. Roll me percentiles, please.
37.
37.
Yeah.
1/3 of all arcane.
Uh-oh, you died.
Yep, he cut out.
Okay, 1/3 of all arcane mages become sterile.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
And give me. Okay, 1 to 2 high heat, 3 to 4 normal body heat, 5 to 6 weight loss. For visual, 1 to 2 high heat. give me a die 6.
1.
Okay, we now know why arcane casters dress skimpy. Magic produces body heat.
So this would mean that I probably should have changed my avatar.
Yeah, you should have gone with that image from Lineage.
That skimpier looking one?
Yep.
We're also going to go because it's a 1.
I can change it now. Go ahead, man.
Mages require, if they're engaged in active spell casting, in other words, use half or more of their spells during the day, they require double the amount of food that a normal person does.
Woo, man. So they're eating machines.
Yep, caloric consumption.
That also explains her weight.
Yeah, when you're 261 pounds, that's because you haven't been really doing much lately. Once you start casting the spells, you drop that fucking weight.
That makes sense.
Now, if we want to use now let's see. Yeah, so your male mages are going to be, at the beginning of the day kind of fat looking, and then by the end of the day be all ripped and shit.
That makes sense, though. See, there's a perfectly good explanation why she would be wearing nothing at all.
Yeah, you wear a cloak with basically nothing at all under it, because once you start casting, that cloak's got to come off, baby.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the we'll go with that other avatar. It makes sense then. Besides, she has hair at least.
Yeah. Let's come up with a few fashion things. Tattoos, yes or no? Tattoos fashionable, yes or no?
We'll do a D6.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, no. 4, 5, 6. Yes.
That's okay.
5.
Yes, okay. Give me a die 6 and let's see how complex they get.
All right.
6
Got a
is
1.
max.
All
1.
right, and I'm back.
Let's see. Right now, the current social thing is your outlines. You know, not the filled in ones, but like where it's just the line art.
Okay.
And one color.
Wow, we're not into very elaborate looking shit, but alrighty then.
Die 6 and let's see what the previous fashion.
Previous fashion 2.
Hmm.
About the same.
Yeah.
Omega symbols only.
Let's say it was adopted from the orcs.
That sounds good.
Became popular once the orcs got integrated into modern society.
Yeah, so it's really the tribal fashion look.
Makes sense. Alright, what else is next?
Let's see. Do we worry about how people dress? Fashion?
I think that's important because the fact that as you're walking around the city, you're gonna have to describe what the city what the way people are dressed out in this town.
Yeah.
So I guess what? Go ahead.
6. If we get 1 to 2, it's let's go with 1 to 2. It's racial. 3 to 4. It's by district. 5 and 6. It's citywide.
All right. 4.
It's by district.
Shit. How many districts does this city have?
We will figure that out in a little bit. All right, so we know we're in the north because the orcs came down from the north. So what do you say? Weather about like New England or the Pacific Northwest?
That's well. Let me give you a thing.
Yeah, and a little chilly, a little rainy.
1.
Yeah.
4?
I got a 1.
What?
1.
Let's go with the Pacific Northwest where it's more rain than snow.
Yeah.
Because snow is what drove the orcs south.
Right.
So we're going with definitely a semi-tropical environment, I guess.
No.
Now it gets cold.
Okay.
But definitely defined seasons.
All right.
Give me a die 4. I want to see if it's self-sufficient or not.
Okay. 3.
3. Largely self-sufficient. You guys don't really get food imports from the Empire.
That makes sense.
So no farming?
No, you guys have farming. But with the 4, the Empire doesn't really, take shit from you guys either.
Okay.
So let's see. We're going to go really simple. Odd, yes, even, no. So give me a die 6 for coal.
Die 6.
Yep.
3.
What I say? What was odd?
No. I think.
Okay, odd is no? Okay. Let's try iron.
Iron.
Give me a roll.
D6 again.
Yep.
1.
No iron. How about copper? Give me die 6.
1.
What about 10? Give me a die 6.
5.
Do we have anything at this point?
Wow! Let's try gold. At 6.
Oh!
Yes?
Yeah.
That's a 6.
I. Silver.
6.
Woo!
Damn. Gems.
1.
Aw.
Let's see. Coal, iron, copper, nickel. Nickel's vital to early civilizations.
5.
No? Damn. Wow. As far as resources like that, we got no's across the board.
Ooh, we got gold and silver. Not me, that wasn't me. Oh my god.
We don't even have gemstones.
That kind
Damn.
of sucks. I wanted a pretty crown, but hey, you know.
Well, if you think about it, if gold and silver is pretty fucking common here, that means there's a lot of gold and silver decoration.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this bank working on? Credit? Which edition of Pathfinder are we on?
First.
Second isn't even out yet.
Okay, first edition. Alright.
So let's see, we already know there's farming.
Well, that would mean that if out in the world you ran into some of these other elements, they're rare elements and they'll actually be worth a lot of money.
Yeah, if you guys cross the river and find out where if you guys can find some of those defunct kingdoms' mines, you can fucking
We're big.
to the bank and get a loan.
Yeah, so like
can
you
buy
go out
the
there and
bank.
start finding fucking. You find a goddamn cave filled with ruby and diamond, you're in the fucking money.
Iron, man. There's gonna be a huge demand for iron for like crafts and shit.
I think we've already found a reason why we would start. Another part of the reason why
We're
gonna
treasure
start
hunting.
venturing out. We're literal treasure hunters. It actually makes a lot of sense. We're looking for fucking rare metals and rare gemstones.
What do you guys think about the city government itself is actually hiring the adventurers to go out and look for that shit?
That'd be perfectly fine because there's probably plenty of shit that would be willing to kill anything that's stupid enough to go out there unless they're properly prepared.
I would totally be okay with renegotiating once we return, depending on how big the haul is.
So we'll call it freelancers, not adventurers.
That makes
Whatever
sense.
you want to call it.
We're medieval vault hunters.
Yeah, I like that idea.
I actually started to say Vaulters, and I'm like, this bastard's gonna kill me for a Borderlands reference.
No, actually, that does make sense because those two kingdoms collapsed 150 years ago. I'm sorry, they've had time.
They had their chance.
They had their chance to come back.
What about grave robbery? Well,
Not
I mean,
unless the coffin is full of gems.
that's gonna come down. That's a good question. Is grave robbery actually shunned upon?
Well, give me a die 6.
I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but think about it. We got a 1.
It is extremely taboo.
All right, I like it. See, this is giving me ideas of where I'm gonna take this damn character
But I
because she
mean-
is not gonna be the good guy this whole fucking time. We're rolling good
Okay,
shit.
but I mean, unless you're looking for something specific they had, or you're doing a specific spell, or you're a necromancer, why would we be grave robbing?
I would. Well, that's okay. This is what Destroyer said. He said, "What about grave robbery? Like, is it legal or is it illegal?
It
If
would
it's
be illegal.
extremely
Illegal.
taboo, then it's obviously going to be illegal."
Oh, okay, you're looking at the chat. I see the
I
chat
was
now.
not going to ask a question about necrophilia.
I wasn't even thinking of it until you said it, so your mind was already there.
That's what Nib said. He said his next question is about necrophilia.
Please, Nurgle's mind is constantly and it has a permanent residence in the gutter.
I do plan on taking this chick from being a healer character and slowly putting her towards being a necromancer of some kind.
That would be cool.
I don't want her to
We could
stay a
have an
healer. I want her
undead
to change
army.
gods eventually. and start worshiping an evil god and going that direction. But anyway, we'll get into that when we actually get into the game. But what's up?
We pretty much laid it down that the worship of the gods has fallen by the wayside.
Okay.
I say we make it where the old gods are real. They've just fallen out of fashion. You know, like the old joke, like Jesus or Thor? Well, I don't see very many temples of Thor around.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, we could even make it... See, the fact is we have magic. Do we... Okay, here's a question. Does this world's government... Does this world understand where magic comes from and how it functions?
Give me a percentile check.
Oh, God.
You'll see where I'm going in a minute with this.
We are so deep in the rabbit.
I rolled a 4. You want me to re-roll that? Okay. So we understand the ins and outs of magic.
Down to the mathematics.
Okay. So, with understanding the ins and outs of magic, is that in this series, does that mean that it is dependent on the gods?
We're going to say no, and that's why the gods fell out of fashion.
So it's hereditary, or race-based, or...
Hereditary and race-based.
Okay, that's what I was going with, okay. So it's not like the gods can get pissed off and take your magic, or can they?
Let's do the Prometheus. They can't. That's what they're all pissed off about.
Woo, I like that.
So, what you're saying is you've just set up also a world now. What we're saying is you set up a world now where the gods are going to be a very vengeful, wrathful bunch.
But they're kind of helpless at the face of
Petty
magic.
and vengeful.
Petty and vengeful. So we're going with Greek mythology style gods.
I'll go with American gods, because that was some shit. Okay, anyway. Dusty says, this is going to be a fucking train wreck. I'm right there with you.
This is going to be a massive train wreck.
It's going to be glorious, though!
Alright, well, I'm going to go take a piss. You guys
have fun!
Why would you take a piss? I prefer to leave one.
Pee for me too while you're at it.
I'll be back in just a minute.
Don't have too much fun.
Well, let's decide.
Oh, that's another good question, actually, before I head out. Destroyer said, which race is the most magically gifted?
Oh, we're gonna find
well.
Elves, goddammit!
It's always elves.
I know, right? I'm just so awesome.
Just, I'll let you guys fight that one out. I'll be right back.
Wow, that's an interesting question. If we go with human, that explains why humans are dominant.
But I thought the elves were mostly politically in power.
They are.
Half-elves.
The half-elves.
Yeah.
Because regular elves are druidic hippies.
Oh, okay, I get it.
I'd probably instead of going with one race is more magically dominant, I offer a counter proposal.
What?
There are certain races that will have a predilection for certain spheres of magic, but as far as out and out more powerful than others, that's not the case. It's more
I
like
don't think it's so much powerful as prevalent.
No, he's right.
Okay.
How about instead I sit down and give each race a school of magic that they're more in touch with?
And when it comes to this, what this would imply is that they'd have an easier time learning magic from a certain sphere, rather than they can cast more powerful spells. I think this approach is more interesting. It's more of because if we're treating magic as a skill like any occupational skill, there are certain things that you're gonna be better at. You're gonna be quicker.
Elves with erratic.
So elves, they are inclined towards druidic magic. If we have to go with the 9 spheres, I'm not sure how you're going to do it. Perhaps that they have a bit of a predilection towards enchantment.
Yes, elves have long been. When you think of elf, you think of enchantment. charms, stuff like that.
Maybe I'd say when it comes to humans, I'd say that they're the closest ones to, since humans end up being the jack of all trades cliche.
They're the only ones to take the universal sphere.
Yeah.
Destroyer pointed out maybe have certain races be looked down upon because of the magic they naturally take to.
You mean like necromancy?
I'm not fond of that idea. I think that causes more problems than it solves.
Well, necromancy would be a school of magic, though.
It is.
Since it's already taboo.
No. Grave robbing is taboo.
I'm sorry. I'm
Well,
really
I mean
tired.
that's a good question. Do we feel that is something like necromancy going to be considered taboo? You know, or well,
at least something
anything
pretty dirty. I mean,
Because let's face it, the Egyptians didn't look at necromancy as something dirty. It was a vital part of their lives.
Right, but okay. All right, you're right.
I think what it'd have to be is, it depends. I think it could be race related. You know, it's like depending on the race of the character or the race of the people, that what magic schools they shun upon and what magic schools they favor more. That would make more sense.
Yeah, which is what we're doing. The opposition schools are what's shunned. And humans being universal, they embrace necromancy too because...
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right.
Alright, so what's next on the list of our world building, I guess?
Let's see, we've got our gods. Is there mythical old kingdoms?
So you want a D6?
Give me a percentile, actually.
Alrighty then. 82.
Yes, there are mythical old kingdoms, but the current civilization has surpassed them.
Okay.
I never heard of that. Destroyer organ transplants were considered necromancy?
Who?
Destroyer put out that, or hell, organ transplants were considered necromancy.
Yes, they were.
Wow, I never knew that.
Give me a dice 6 real quick, Google.
What's that?
Give me a dice 6, please.
Gotcha.
And you never know what you're rolling
5.
for.
Okay, give me a die 4, please.
Oh, this isn't gonna be good.
4.
Okay. What ethnostates? Okay. The ancient kingdoms were legendary because of their size and the fact they were ethnostates.
Okay.
So, the ancient elven kingdoms were, huge ethnostates, but they crumbled as soon as those old kingdoms were pretty fragile.
Well, since we have that the elves are nomadic in this bunch, and they're more wood elves now, are we going with, in the past they used to be at one point a form of high elf and then fallen down to that?
Yeah, let's go with that.
I mean, yes, their civilization
that's kind of
crumbled.
It's kind of like, what is it? It's kind of like the Dragon Age Origins version of them. You have the city rat elves. They're like lower. They're basically the second class citizens, and then you have the ones that are living out in the wilds, and they're all basically like wood elves
and assholes.
They're the ones that live away from society and whatever. And yes, they are assholes. That's up to you guys if y'all want to make these elves assholes or not.
I say we make the city elves politicians.
That makes perfect
That's
sense.
what you were going with in the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, but as far as the elves being assholes in the whole Luddite superiority kind of thing, nah, let's not do that this time.
Let's use the old Shadowrun thing. Never deal with a dragon, never trust an elf. Elves are politicians. They'll screw you in the ass.
That's kind of like Bright. Oh wait, you saw Bright, right? Ralph?
Yeah,
That was
of course.
fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
I never got to watch
I
It
think
was so good.
Ramen, I think you, Reltz, and myself are some of the few people who have seen Bright and not shat on it.
Oh
Like,
my god, it was good.
Everybody seems to hate it except us.
No, it was really fucking good, and it had some similarities to Alien Nation, like as far as the discrimination went, but except that they were established for centuries instead of being newcomers. But yeah, there was a little bit of that. It was really good. I can't wait till the second one comes out.
I'm concerned when it comes to the second one because I know that Landis isn't going to be able to write scripts because he got targeted with that witch hunt shit when Me Too happened.
Yeah, we're getting way off topic
Yeah, I
here.
was just gonna say let's go back to.
All right,
Sorry.
give me a die 6 real quick.
Gotcha. Oh shit, hang on. There we go. 3.
3.
Fucking knife ears.
All right,
Oh my
dwarves.
god.
We're going to go with dwarves are very family lineage. Like, for example, our dwarven cleric here can recite his family members back 20 fucking generations.
Oh, that's
If you
fucking
do,
cool.
JT, if you do that more than once during the campaign, no. I think there's going to be a line of people waiting to kick your ass.
I think that somebody in the group is gonna learn a mute spell and cast it on it when he starts that shit.
No, you know them, but you don't say them out loud because it's nobody. Let's go with your dwarves are very private about it to non-dwarves.
It's tacky. It's tacky to
Yeah.
brag about it. Okay.
Now, if you were going into the Forge Hall, of course, when you came up to the Great Gates, you fucking recite it. But you know, you want to do business sometime today.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I say let's go a little retro
Oh.
and let's use Tolkien halflings.
Okay.
So the halflings like to keep to themselves.
Oh, you broke up.
Think about it. You're 3 foot high in a world full of fucking killing machines.
And none of us is playing a halfling, thank God.
I started to, but I don't know anything about them, so I just left it. And tieflings weren't included either, so I just left that too.
Homes
I
are the
used to
odd
like
ones out.
Tiflings were
They're always odd out. Can anybody think of a real interesting thing for gnomes? I don't like the Pathfinder has to get new experiences constantly, and they came from a mystical world because of a disaster and blah blah blah.
Who runs the banks, elves or someone else?
I
I would have said trolls, but
as far as
Harry
gnomes
Potter
go,
style.
I prefer the idea that they love ideas. So naturally, when it comes to something getting built or something like that, it's a case of I haven't done that I haven't done that thing before. I haven't done that in a while. They're very much I like the idea of having them be the most go-getter. They're the ones who would be most likely to be engineers.
Then I don't want to do it like Dragonlance did, where they were fucking retards. So let's go with they specialize in clockwork and engineering like that.
Yeah, they're not stupid, but what they are is very risk taker-y. Like they're the kind of person who would look at one of their formulas exploding and then say, "Ah, crap, back to the drawing board." But that just killed 50 people. I know.
I like what Dusty said.
We gotta start again, so it only kills 10.
Gnomes don't
Of their
fight
guys.
directly, but use constructs, golems.
Yeah,
I like that.
clockwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that dwarves will do a lot of testing to make sure an invention works right. Gnomes, not so much.
That's why the gnomes get along with the humans, because the gnomes are like, look, last time we did this, it killed 8 people. And the humans are like, well, this time let's go for 6.
Yep.
Or let's go for 12.
Not enough people were killed.
I think the human on this end would probably say, That's a good idea, but let's find a way so that it kills 8 of those guys.
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
So instead of orcs being the most warlike, do we want to have humans are the most warlike?
Oh yeah, well hell yeah, because I mean the orcs the way you've established is that the orcs have blended into have like melded into modern society, so they would be the ones that would have grown more civilized compared to the humans who are always warlike. They've always been that way. I mean, come on, the whole concept of the human race is we're very warlike. We're very much into expansion and ruling over everything, you know. So we're kind of like this. Kind of is a world where everything is existing in a world together, where everybody lives together in harmony in some form or fashion. Except you have the outlander areas, like you have the savage orc tribes and shit like that.
I'd say when it comes
question.
to the orcs, and I'm just pitching this. As far as going to war with other tribes, that is something that isn't as common. But as far as orcs getting into a fight in the sense of a duel, because there's still that sense of competition between them, that I could see happening more often. Like they won't go to war, but they'll certainly get.
You can see them being temperamental little bastards.
Well,
Okay.
here's an idea. Here's what we're leading into: we're leading into the noble savage with honor code idea.
Oh,
And,
okay.
that
Yeah.
does not apply to orcs that often.
Yeah.
It's really not applied to orcs. Orcs are always violent and stupid.
And just shredding up anything that moves. Okay.
What if we did where the orcs are more like, you know, if counting coup is important, spiritualism is important.
They have their own code.
What if we did that?
I like
Yeah,
that.
I can go with that. The whole
like
thing
it.
I was thinking is that an orc wouldn't try and start a war, but they might want to wrestle somebody.
I could
Well, just-
see them starting a war if they were, if their clan or something was dishonored. That would fall right into it.
Destroyer said orcs having a Bushido code or something.
Oh, I like that. Not an honor code, but a Bushido code. Right down to how you're supposed to fight.
Yeah.
Hey, it worked for Warcraft. Why not?
Okay, I did have a question, and it's kind of rhetorical at this point because I don't see our entire country getting into war. But they've taken the cannons, they've taken the guns. I mean, we have no complex weaponry. If we did get into a war, what would we be using? Catapults or trebuchets? I'm fucking tired. You can fuck right off with your 5-hour macaroni and cheese making ass, okay? We were supposed to start this shit 2 hours ago, so you better not say one fucking thing about me. Now,
Fire the cannibals!
God damn you! I know
I
where
want
you
some
live.
Catapults that launch Shia
God damn
LaBeouf
it,
into the
Rolls.
crowd.
I would
so
pay
much.
somebody to have that as a. I would pay somebody to have them draw
God damn
that.
it. Okay, I just wanted to ask a fucking question. Stop crucifying me.
Okay, I'd say if we're talking about the warfare variants here, of course we're going to use standard melee attacks, melee weaponry.
Like, what about like trebuchets or the catapults?
Yeah, you're going to use stuff like trebuchets, catapults, ballistas. Okay. That makes
bows,
sense.
Arrows.
That was just a
bows and arrows.
Curiosity for me. That's all.
I guess what you're saying is you would cannibal shot.
Fuck you!
I like that.
I hate you.
I would say
it'd probably be standard medieval warfare style with the blend of magic users mixed into it.
So basically, we have people that can ride on bears and charge in.
It would be a ground war.
Yeah.
Oh, but would anybody have the what do you call it? Help me out here. The blimps. I forgot what they're called.
Dirigibles. Do we want dirigibles
Airships.
and hot air balloons?
Airships. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah, why not? Let's have.
I think it's a
something
little
go up like the
advanced,
Hindenburg.
but
Well, give me a die 6. Let's find out if they can still repair those airships or if they're lost tech.
3.
Lost tech it is.
yeah, I think it would have been. I think it would have been a bit much, but
well, that's where I say like the gnome race comes into play here.
Zeppelins,
You know,
thank you, Dusty.
they're the tech guys, you know, and since they're the tech engineer types, they would be like the ones that do work for the empire or for the country. They would be the ones developing war machines.
So the Empire really relies on clockwork and golems in addition to infantry.
Yeah, so I mean, I like where you're coming from. Final Fantasy airship theme.
So
Final Fantasy airship.
the gnomes can maintain the airships, but nobody knows how to build them.
In other words, don't fucking break it.
Yep.
Kind of like yeah, it's kind of like the Warhammer 40k universe. You have titans and tanks, and everybody's like, don't fucking break it because we can't build another one.
Well, let's steal something from Warhammer.
What's up?
They're one of the city-state. Holy shit! That's what this city builds.
What?
This city builds airships.
Airships and golems. And mechanical golems.
The city-state is the only place that airships can be built. And once they're built, they head off into the Empire, never to be seen again.
Ah!
Damn.
That's why even though you don't produce a lot, you don't have a lot of raw materials, you guys, that's why this place is so fucking rich.
Okay.
Think about what that would mean for their economy. You know, in the 3 to 5 years it takes to build an airship, that's the missing piece of the economy. Why the banks are so powerful, why it's so fucking, why there's so many, why there's so many different races.
Yep.
They all have a part in the society.
What do you guys
They
think
all
of that?
contribute. Yeah.
Yeah, I can
the
go with
gnomes
that.
are like the one thing we couldn't think of. Why are they there? You know? Yeah, that works.
So they all have their little part to play in this
Yeah.
puzzle.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why the elves like to cruise by, because they like to sell their artwork, which naturally goes into the fucking airship.
Yeah.
So
See, usually when you got an airship in a campaign, nobody knows who makes them. You never get to see them. But that explains why the Empire and the city is sending freelancers across the river to get coal, iron, everything you need to build an airship. And think about how much rare woods would be worth.
Think how much more valuable than gold iron would be.
well, so you found what I mean. So we finally found the way to justify why the fuck we would be leaving our homes to go out there, and why we would probably run into each other and work together.
And why the city didn't just fragment into everybody leaving behind an empty city.
Yeah.
Because they still build airships.
But why are we still building the airships?
Because the
we
Empire
can't.
buys them.
There we go.
The Empire purchases them.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that works for us. Okay, Destroy
just
says
looking
it looks
this-
like
Wait, are the cannons made here?
They might have been years ago.
since they're forgotten tech, they might have been.
Generations ago.
Okay, that's interesting.
Destroy's like, I smell a plot point.
Yes, I do.
With weapons being banned, I mean, how long ago were, like, the weapons banned? You know, if it
They
were
weren't,
generations?
they weren't banned. They weren't banned. It's just they haven't been developed yet,
Oh,
except for
okay.
cannons.
Okay.
We're at that point where we're waiting for that one dwarven tech to come out and be like, so I made this thing. I think I'm gonna call it a boomstick.
Cannons are still made, but nobody knows that they need gunpowder.
Oh,
So they-
wow.
Yeah, because how are they going to fire cannons?
Look at this big round long thing I have in my foyer. Isn't it pretty? It's just like the one at the gates.
Oh my god, can you see some nobles showing off the cannon and it's pretty much made of gold and silver? And
I guess that's what I was going for.
look at how bejeweled it is.
Unless you want to go the whole Vermintide situation.
Oh God, no.
Never played.
No.
Ralt hasn't played it, and it's really limiting, so no.
Vermintide is so awesome.
It's a good game. I'm not saying. I mean, I like the game. I love it. I'm a ranger in that too.
You really want him to play part 2, don't you?
I'll play either part. I only played one for like 5 seconds.
I liked playing the Wood Elf chick. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
I like her. Because she's got the 2 daggers.
I like her. Yeah, I like her crossbow. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I will fight you to play her.
Well, I've only got part 1, so.
I don't mind playing.
Question.
Dwarf.
Yeah, what's your question?
What's up? Let's get back into
to
this.
run it on a scale of 1 to 10. How strict the morals are. 1 being LA in the '60s, and 10 being Victorian England.
You want me to roll a d10 for it?
Yep.
Now I'm scared.
4.
Oh,
4. Okay.
pretty mild.
Not bad. Not bad. There's not very many moral laws. Prostitution is legal.
Oh, you heard that, Nurgle?
Woohoo! I can be the lesbian female half-orc that buys prostitutes.
So we don't have the police of vice and virtue running around, but it's not a free-for-all.
Not like Ravenloft.
Sounds good to me.
That was some pretty strict stuff going on there.
Yeah, it was. All right, let's see here. Okay.
Dusty, please, one. No, baby.
Let's see here. So we've got the demons and devils, right? We got the... Here's the question. Are they real?
Demons
Yes!
and devils, are they real?
Yes.
I go with yes. Just for the sake of this world, because we're building a fantasy world,
If
I
we've
would
got
go with
vengeful
yes.
gods, I would go with the demons too.
Because you're gonna have evil gods that are like straight up.
It's like everything is against us. The gods hate us for having magic. The demons hate us. Period. I mean, we can't win here. I like that.
Well, why do let's see, the demons hate us because why? Why are demons out to corrupt the mortal realm?
Well, here's a question.
Because they're demons. It's
Hold on. Here's a question. That was my next question. Was going to be: are the demons existing on another plane of existence, or do they exist within the real world of where we're at? Because we could go with the concept of like Warhammer, where they exist in a separate world, and that's just their thing. They love to affect the material world.
Yeah, that's pretty much most RPs. Neverwinter.
Well, I think in Warhammer they love to affect the material world because it creates a feedback loop that gives them more power.
Yeah,
Plus
because they
it's
need.
like-
Well, they need in the world of Warhammer in 40K especially, the Chaos Gods. They need people to believe in them to feed them power, because that's how they stay strong. Basically, as long as the people are believing in them, they stay strong.
I've got an idea. This just occurred to me. What if angels and demons are both looked at the same way by people as agents of old gods, the relics of a forgotten age?
That sounds
They're
good.
both corruptors and seek to get rid of free will.
Oh, that works for me.
The gods are petty and vengeful.
Gods are petty and vengeful, so even your good gods or your more light side based gods are basically going to be. Yeah, that makes sense.
A
Good
tantrum
point.
having toddler. The god is
Because what was the line from Cena and Hercules? The old gods were petty and cruel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why I said it's like we have basically Greek mythology variants of gods. You'll know the names of the gods that you're going with, but I know like how many of them exist. I don't know, but
So a pit fiend may or may not be from hell. He may be actually an agent of a lawful good god. It's just he's an asshole.
Right.
Basically.
All we know is he's from another dimension, come here to fuck with us.
Again.
Again.
I'd say it's. I wonder if it's more. I wonder how much of it is he's an asshole, or it's he
No.
operates on logic that makes sense only to that makes perfect sense to him, but no sense to everybody else.
Well, it looks like, going off of what you're saying, Destroyer, when you said the religion front is even more hostile, it's not so much that it's more hostile. Everybody lives in the big city where we're at. They don't really... It's like, what, we don't really believe in... We know the gods exist, but we're not reliant upon them. I would say when you get outside of the city, when you get more into the wilder parts, then you would probably run into the places where there's more people dedicated to their religious beliefs. Because I'm sure Raltz will come up with the idea that you have religious cults here and there.
Some cults will treat like Warhammer treats cults. Other ones of them will be actual, from a benevolent god, but you can't be sure.
Okay, Ralph, before I forget after the broadcast, I wanted to send you a link to a TV show, so can you remind me of that after?
Okay.
Okay.
Alright. Let's see here. Economy is not a total disaster, but the political climate is looking very unfriendly.
Depends on who you are, though.
Depends on who you are, where you sit in the social status and the social class. I like the idea of the orcs having the Bushido style look, which is going to be difficult for me to play because I'm not used to playing that Bushido style, but that's fine.
Just watch a bunch of Kurosawa movies over the week. You'll be fine.
It would be only how it pertains to your fighting, right? Like how you regard fighting and war and, your honor and shit. It wouldn't be like every single everyday interaction.
Well, I know my style. I'm probably going to be that asshole that's very much going away from their fucking beliefs.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll figure it out. I've never RP'd a female half orc.
You know what? Just RP a person and then, figure out what their characteristics are and work that in.
Well, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to build it as I go.
It's just don't think
Don't think
of it as a female so much.
That's why I was fine with.
I really liked the other avatar, that first one you had, where she was all like huge, and I thought that was fucking cool.
Yeah, it's whatever.
All right, so we got a lot going here. I can see the city being somewhat bright, and the people being somewhat bright. Are we going to go with the way classical Rome is viewed, or what we know now thanks to laser scanning and all that about the statues and walls and architecture?
I'm not that informed.
We found out that they painted them gaudy as shit. Everything was extremely colorful, not all clean white marble, all colored and shit, and mosaics.
Yeah, we live in a place where people take a lot of pride in the architecture.
Yeah, so I say we go for color.
Yeah, everything's all bright and shiny, and yeah, that's cool.
That works for me.
So, can anybody think of anything we would need to add to this?
I don't know. We can go to the chat. Destroyer, what do you think we're missing?
We missing anything?
We miss anything on building this world?
Suicide is very heavy in Bushido.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't see his character wanting to commit suicide or any of that shit. So.
Yeah, we'll get rid of the ritual suicide.
Seppuku.
Even if they had it, I don't see his character doing it.
Wait. What if we went with symbolic suicide? They break their blade and they can never touch a blade in anger again. They can't even count coup. They don't wrestle.
They'd be pretty much outcast at that point.
No, because you'd have some people that they would decide when they're young, are they going to break their blade or are they going to carry it? If they break their blade, they become merchants, healers.
Well, yeah, I like that idea. That works. If they decide that, hey, this isn't the path I want to take, so they're going to take a different path. But they can't. But once they choose that path, they're set on that path, and they can't go back.
No matter how dark it gets.
Okay,
Exactly. They have to see their way through it.
How would that affect their role with their family, though? If their family's really big into that stuff, how would that affect their situation with their family and their relations?
It wouldn't really affect the family relationship.
It's like saying, I'm not going to be a soldier, I'm going to be a merchant, so I will break the blade and pick up the handful of coins.
Yeah, so it's the family. Basically, I would say it's like this. Every orc, when they come to a time of, when they're at their coming of age time, which I guess for orcs would probably be like
13, 14,
12 or 13 even. Because they usually are, depends on how mature we want to say they go to. But yeah, I could say 13 or 14 years old. At around 13 or 14, these orcs have to decide what is the path they're going to take in their life. Are they going to be a fighter? Are they going to be a sorcerer? Are they going to be this, or that? And then they have to choose. And in my case, my character chose to be a witch.
And they consult the oracles.
Yeah.
Okay. Dusty has a very good question. Are we a port city? Which now I'm looking at the map. Where would we be on the map? Because you have a couple
we're
of
not.
cities. Okay.
We're not.
Okay.
Okay.
We know that it's self-sufficient as far as food goes. We decided that already. So the farmland is very, very good.
Sanitation is what.
Okay, we already stated that there was a sewer system and indoor running water.
Yeah.
We already stated that the kobolds work in the sanitation system.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And he said, well, his question was, how do we dispose of the dead? What is our main method? I would assume that we just bury them.
It would depend on the race, though, wouldn't it? I mean, does anybody do cremations?
Actually, you don't bury them. It's above ground tombs, like in the fuck is the name of that city? New Orleans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Which is kind of a... Well, yeah, they do that in New Orleans because of all the flooding. They have all the flooding. Otherwise, you got... Yeah, we're not going to get into that.
And because it's next to the river, by not burying them and having them above ground, they don't pollute the water table.
Yeah.
Exactly. Especially since those tombs are sealed shut. You know, they're airtight.
But they're also above the ground, like you said, the water table.
What if we make it where kobolds are big on their union? It's not for kobolds. It's not who laid the eggs. It's not it's not that. It's what union you belong to.
That'll work.
Wow.
Where you could have kobold. Where the big thing is you got to watch it because you don't want to get in between two of the union gangs going toe to toe over who's doing what.
Yeah, but they're kobolds. You can just field goal them across the room.
Yeah, and then who's gonna bury all your people, man?
I get your point.
It's funny though. It's like out of all of the job whole thing, I really would have thought it would have been the gnomes that were unionized, but
well, it makes sense for the kobolds.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes total sense for the kobolds. And they're tinier. They're tiny. Kobolds are about the same size as gnomes, if not smaller.
Yeah,
smaller. Yeah.
Well, standing upright, they're about the same size.
Uh-huh.
Well, with the way they stand, because they stand kind of slumped forward because they're still big buildings.
Okay, so we got all that. Fuck.
Yeah, because kobolds in the wild are all dragon blood shit, and kobolds in the cities are all local 451 rules.
It's one of them named Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
Here's the other question too: is how are we handling the crime and punishment system?
Ooh,
that's something we didn't think about. Are we doing a judge jury by trial system, and how do we handle our executions? Is it based upon the type, whatever the crime is?
How about a mix of
so what kind of legal code are we looking at?
What's that? What
kind of legal code are we looking at?
What you got? Do you need me to randomize a roll?
Oh, God, that's tough.
We'd have to list all the fucking legal systems first.
Well, just pick the like the few main ones.
Okay,
The ones that you typically would go for.
For a city like this, I would go for either Byzantine laws, where if you're so much as fined for littering, you want to get a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, let's do that.
I like that.
So you're going. Ooh.
We're going.
You're going like. You're
It's
going
a
like South Korea. No, not South Korea. You're going like Singapore style. Like, this motherfucker put some gum under the goddamn chair. His ass is getting a.
Well, we don't know how strict yet, but you know, think about it. It's a 1,000-year-old empire and a republic to boot.
So we're going with public punishment in front of a crowd or a jail system.
Public shaming, because public shaming really works
Yes.
on orcs, dwarves, half elves.
Sounds good. That work. Yeah, that's a good one. The story
Because
is
there's
he's like
people who would
perfect.
rather be put to death than be scolded in public.
Could you imagine getting spanked in the public square with one of those big old, not spanked,
With a
what do you call it?
with a
Cane.
gnomish spanking machine.
No, what are those? Caned. That's what I was actually going for. I'm sorry.
Can you imagine how humiliated that would be? Being
an
brought
orc?
into the public square and put into the gnomish spanking machine.
Well, the story's like public opinion on floggings and crucifixions.
I'd say they view crucifixions as barbaric and flogging for like what we would consider the death penalty.
Well, I was going to ask that is, so are we going with a system that doesn't utilize a death penalty?
No.
Let's
With
do
it going
that.
with
That's
floggings?
different. Yeah, let's do that. That's different.
So there's no death penalty, they just do public flogging. And,
Or, you know, public shaming and
well, public shaming and then lockup. So there's obviously a prison system within this city.
Yeah.
only instead of the prison, you know how nowadays the cells nobody can see into them and everything.
Yeah.
Imagine if walking down the street you could see into the cells.
Oh, everybody's on display no matter what, so they
Would
could
you
see.
really want to
they're
see
being-
people piss in their cell? I mean,
Would you?
no, I wouldn't.
That's how you curve punishment and crime. People don't want other people walking by watching someone shit and piss in public.
As a spectator, I wouldn't want to see it. I'm going down
As a
to the grocery
spectator,
store.
you don't want to see it, and as a person, you don't want people to have to see that.
So we're looking at a pretty lawful society.
For the most part, yeah.
I mean,
with a very complex legal code that requires lawyers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I do have to ask that. I do have to ask this, and this is going to be the worst question that I'll probably ask. But
Oh, so you must ask it.
shut up. Ralts, are you gonna be? Ralts, I assume that you're not going to pull something stupid like threaten to make me an ex-barbarian if it comes down to that.
What are you talking about?
With that whole you have to be chaotic all the time. I'm not doing that.
No. It's
He
not
doesn't
like
do that sort of thing. He doesn't.
Barbarians, contrary to popular belief, barbarians have to be a very disciplined people. Conan's people were very disciplined because you have to be. If you're everybody for themselves, your tribe dies in a single generation. Barbarians are very self-disciplined.
We were talking about that earlier with their whole code and everything, and we actually did refer to barbarians earlier. So
Yeah, you prefer to be on the edge of the city, away because in the city to you bugs you.
there's too many damn people.
And too much damn magic. A man can't even scratch his balls while he's having a beer without needing a lawyer.
Yeah, too many damn politicians too. This is
Which
crazy.
fits barbarian.
Okay, speaking of spanking, what is the extent of the sex trade? Like it is unionized like in Amsterdam?
I say yes.
Unionized? Really? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Woo-hoo, we got a red light district going, yo.
Because one thing that unions do, as we discovered, is they do have a tendency to grind everything to a halt, which goes along with our empire and decay thing.
Yeah.
Between the unions and the Senate and the churches and the mage guilds, everything is slowing down. Let's see. Slavery. I want to say yes, but I want to say very unionized and regulated to the point where there's lawyers that specialize in slave law.
I'm guessing that slaves are more of indentured servants than anything else.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, there can be both, but what if there were laws to the point where if a slave stubs his toe, he falls on the ground moaning and holding his foot and acting like it's fucking broken? And he doesn't have to work for like 3 fucking days.
Workers' comp, yo! Or what if a slave who is badly mistreated can sue their master for freedom?
Jesus Christ. Now, with the way you've designed the kobold society in this city, like, you could have stories now where you've got, like, fucking mobster style shit going on.
I was just gonna say, can we do a campaign later where they're campaigning for the new union leader and they're having fights to see who's gonna get, they have 2 different parties campaigning against each other? That would be fucking awesome.
Slavery exists, but it's really out of fashion because having a slave is a bigger pain in the ass.
Okay, Destroyer asked this one. I don't know how much you really need to get into this or not, but speaking of Spain, he said, what's the extent of the sex trade? Like, is it unionized?
I just read that.
Yeah. I didn't get that.
It's unionized.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
It's unionized like Amsterdam. This is going to be weird because, most of the time if you say slavery, everybody's like, no, the kingdom can't have that. It's a good kingdom. But what if slaves are just such a pain in the fucking ass?
You can't be bothered. It's cheaper to hire somebody.
You've got to send their kids to school. You've got to give them an allowance. They have to have the same kind of clothes as the commoners wear.
They have to be taught a trade.
They have to be you can't treat them like dirt. You actually have to treat them nicely.
They get workers' comp. They get holidays and days off. And
you have to get them an apprenticeship.
So they're more like, they're not slaves, they would be more like indentured servants.
The slave union.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't like that.
Slave union?
No.
My client's contract states that during his servitude, he is only allowed to work for 2 hours a day. The defendant made my client work for 5 minutes more.
Now,
that's
oddly enough,
the manual labor shit, though, that's where the prison system comes into play, is the manual labor side of the house.
And it's a legal punishment.
And then the fact that they have to live in these cells where everybody can see their daily lives.
You know what? I could actually see the elves having slaves, despite all that, just to show that they can afford it.
Well, the elves are grandstanding, whiny little bitches anyway.
Yeah, we can afford
Look
slaves.
At how weak I am. I have slaves that made us food. It only took 3 days.
Yeah, I could see that being a thing. A status thing, yeah.
My slaves made me a sandwich and it only took 2 days.
No, it took me 10 minutes to make the sandwich my damn self. Get out of here.
Poor person, you peasants.
That's why slavery isn't a huge thing, because holy shit, I could have done it myself.
I don't want your peasant-made sandwich. Be gone.
I think I figured out why this particular barbarian is not the biggest fan of being in cities. It is more to do with the fact that he has to deal with people who aren't willing to say what they want to say to his face, or rather they'll do that kind of thing where
slavery. Well, that's a good question too. I mean, that's a good one. What if slavery is a legal punishment?
Well, I could see chain gangs. I could see that.
I can see that one.
No, because if you got a chain gang up to do some like road work or some shit, the Kobold Union's going to be all up in your ass.
That could be actually an issue. That could be an ongoing issue. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
To be an ongoing.
In too many fantasy settings, the city is all, you know, there's no real tensions in there, but we're getting tension built in here.
You got the kobold against the chain gangs. You got the whole slavery thing. Yeah, I like this. I can see this.
Yeah, so now you've got like the leader of the city being able to go and recruiting adventurers. Even I guess you call them adventurers.
Mercenaries.
But recruiting mercenaries to go and settle disputes. Like, hey, we're having an issue with building this road. The kobolds claim that this is their fucking territory, and the chain gang is supposed to do their fucking shit because they're the punishment, or they're the fucking prisoners being punished by the state.
Yeah, I'm not.
So we need you to go.
Tails up. You go hire somebody else.
We need you to go to solve this dispute. Look, if it gets ugly, it gets ugly. If not, hey, we're good. Yeah, it makes sense.
Kobolds are a
Ted
little
just
cute.
brought up something.
Huh?
For a kobold, you don't have to kill a kobold for his capital punishment. You cut off about 6 inches of his tail.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we established that the different schools of magic are hostile to their opposites, of course. I think that's something we established earlier.
Yeah, we did. Can we think of any other thing in chat or whatever? Can anybody think of any other thing that should be addressed?
That's a good question. Elves need to have tension. Yeah, we do know that.
Well, they have the same tension as they believe they're above the laws because they're nomads.
And they pretty much get away with it. They've got the money. They've got the political influence. They kind of are.
Yeah, they come in. They run their crooked con games. They run their whores out of the back of the tents.
So they're the Illuminati, right?
Well, the thing is that with the way the elves are running things, that's another plot point. You know, you got the leader of the city going, look, I need something done with these fucking elves, and I can't get my hands dirty because my military can't be fucking seen fucking with them, so, you know, you can handle them in the background if you want. I mean, I'll pay you.
You can stop them before they hit the road to town.
I mean, that makes sense. It puts everybody, it puts everybody in, like, each of our player characters in the equal footing. The fact that now we can be those mercenaries, because I can see a fucking orc being straight up, I don't give a fuck. Okay.
Not my business.
The elves live in fear of one big thing in the Empire. There's one big thing they're all worried about. That Daddy's gonna wake up.
Oh, their god?
No, the dragon.
Oh, okay.
Because they've been acting as the voice of the dragon.
Doing all kind of shit that dragon would never do.
And because that dragon's been snoozing.
They've probably been dipping into the treasure, into the royal treasury and shit.
Well, okay. Look at it like Rome. You know, when a Roman senator, you know, would fucking campaign and they would run a campaign that would make a fucking Southern Democrat blush. You know, they have found old Roman inscriptions where it said, like, you know, vote for Callius. He doesn't bugger young boys in the market.
Butter young boys.
Bugger. Not butter. Although that probably helped.
So, you know, think about if election year came up, how busy you guys would be.
Oh god.
Oh man.
Find out what you can about so-and-so.
We'd be spending most of our goddamn time just fucking with this city.
I'd be like, get me the fuck out of here. I don't need this shit. I grew up with this shit in my house. I don't need to hear it anymore. I'm gone.
That was Destroyer's question too, is like, is the Republic electoral, is it not? I think electoral is the best way to go there.
Yeah, since we're talking about...
Street Sweepers Union 452 supports Callius. Street Sweepers Union 431 supports Argyle, and now they're fighting in the streets with fucking clubs.
I like this. I like
this. Okay, now I want to make a fucking cold vault. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, it's not too late, I guess, if you really want to.
No, not for that.
I'm liking where we've gone with the orcs, because the orc society. See, that's why when I said let me take on the female orc or whatever, I was like, I was thinking, okay, she's gonna be coming from a society of a bunch of fucking savages and shit.
Well, you got,
like, I like
one
this.
little problem, Nurgle. If we want to be realistic, there is one little problem your character does have.
Uh-oh.
What's that?
That's body heat and food.
I told him to switch that avatar.
You like your cheesecake. You like your fucking pudding. You like your fucking sweets because you have to. You need those calories.
Yeah.
The other thing is your body heats up. So after a good day of spell slinging, what are you gonna do?
Be eating like a motherfucker?
And
Sweating.
all hot, dead as a woman, all heated up internally, sweaty.
Yeah. The first thing I do when I get home, that bra, bam, is across the room. So.
Well, the other thing is all that heat's coming from internal, and you've been full of fucking tingling magic all day.
Oh, yeah, no. I can see us all drawing lots as to who gets stuck bedding down with the orc at the end of the day because nobody wants to be near that fucking heat and the eating.
Why is she always broke? Why is she always broke? You know, where's the orc? She's down at the red light district.
I'm down with it. I can handle it.
She's down at Pink Avenue checking out the Joy Boys.
The purple pony.
Yeah.
At the purple pony. Yeah, I would be like, no.
So does that mean I shouldn't be playing a straight up lesbian? That's usually what I do when I play female characters.
I would just say take whatever's available, not necessarily a lesbian. And you don't think there's guys working in the red light district?
Let's be honest, when you were playing as Frederick, you took whatever was available anyways.
Ooh.
Not entirely. I was down with the spider chick, though.
You can go with the whole, where you been? Oh, well, the purple pony got some new Joy Boys in.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's not being in heat, it's a reaction to the magic.
You'd be all like, I was checking them for, I'm a healer, remember?
I was making sure the new crop was good for the rest. So it was a healthy crop.
You were checking out the union complaints that they weren't given proper health care at the premises.
Yep. Nurgle is a member of the Healers Union.
Oh my god. Poor Dusty, he's like an orc in heat. No, there's no heat, it's just the magic.
Well, we just established the Apothecary Guild, the Healers Union.
Yeah.
City needs a brewery. Oh,
that
yeah,
goes without saying. But wouldn't the taverns sometimes brew their own stuff? Oh, it's a microbrewery, or it's their house.
Yeah, right up until the kobolds show up to wreck that shit.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, though, is
the kobolds are in brewing also.
No, but think about it. They're little. They're used to hitting each other in the face. They just now came out of the woods and out of the caves. They have no problem, with some elf coming up and going, they're over there brewing beer. They don't have permission. And how would you all like some nice new rugs?
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that's the thing, though, with the way the city is run by all these unions that are constantly fighting with each other to keep building and so that they're all making money. It's almost like normal American society.
Yeah.
And there's a fuck ton of kobolds.
So these kobolds,
do they multiply like rabbits, the kobolds?
Egg layers.
Well, I was gonna say, like, we can roll a d6 and see how fast they multiply.
Give me a die 6. Let's see how many eggs are in the average clutch.
2.
That's not bad. That's reasonable.
Okay. Could you imagine, though, they're getting into everything by sheer numbers?
Yeah.
Like every fucking industry?
Wow, there would be some fucking tension.
They're taking our jobs! Oh, sorry.
Because the elves are looking at
but that's exactly what it would be like. I mean, if, like we said with established with the chain gangs, it's like, here's the chain gang, they're out there building a fucking road, and here come the kobolds going, but hey, but that's our fucking job, motherfucker.
You need to go back to jail, motherfucker. This is our thing.
So what the kobolds are really after is the bribes.
Oh.
Kobolds are into bribes the way elves are into power.
So, I mean, what we're saying is, like, there's a very active criminal underground going on here.
Just like the real unions. Sorry. It's just, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the kobolds are every stereotype of a crooked union you've ever thought of. Bribes, graft,
You know, if we don't get an extra kickback, I heard a rumor that, you know, you might have a problem down at the road crew. I mean, they just might not show up, or a tree might be in their way, and we can't clear that tree for you. You know.
You know, Sir Elf, I understand that construction's going really good on your manor, but the boys say that the alcohol's subpar.
Oh. I heard that your cart might lose a wheel tomorrow. I can work on that for you so it doesn't happen. Yeah, I could see that being a thing.
Because, according to history, when somebody comes out of the nomadic or the more rough areas and they move into the more civilized areas, they automatically gravitate to crime due to being shut out of jobs, which the elves would have been doing.
Yeah.
Which led to what? Because the kobolds didn't have the honor code, they had the pack code.
Yeah.
Orcs had the honor code, they were able to integrate easier. Plus, they pretty much look like humans, where kobolds have the pact thing, and they've been slowly filling up the guilds on sheer numbers.
Yeah. They're bringing down our property values. I'm sorry, I'm shut down.
But no, I get it. Well, like I said, I mean, this builds the world so that you know, when we start our campaign, we can
picture it.
Find a reason to start branching out and leaving the city. But it's like there's so much shit going on in this city.
There's shit to do in the city to get you guys built up a few levels.
Yeah. And there's constant crazy shit. I mean, you got with these kobolds. You got okay. We'll tackle that in a second because we still got about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
With the kobolds, you know, you got the thing is, you got these fuckers going outside of the city and capturing big ass fucking monsters like a fucking troll or an ogre. And be like, yeah, we're just gonna go release this motherfucker over here because we want to.
Even
these assholes.
They hire freelancers to capture one of those big trolls and bring it back so they can tame it to haul stone. So you've got like 4 or 5, and the kobolds claim that the troll falls under animals, not sentient, so it doesn't fall under slave laws. It falls under beast of burden.
That makes sense. But I was just saying, it's like, you know, you've got that issue where you have kobolds going out and capturing like wild ass monster beasts, and then we're just gonna release it in the city in like a random spot because that union over there is fucking up.
Or because an elf hired him to fucking shame his opponent.
Yeah.
These elves are going to be... It sounds like these elves are going to be some real nasty little fuckers to deal with.
And the kobolds are going to be fucking tricky.
Kobolds are going to be the straight-up Clydesdale fucking workhorses of the bunch. Let's see. Alright, so here's the next question we have. How's the city foreign policy? Besides the trade, is it willing to have people to immigrate, or is it heavily regulated?
They do have immigration. The orcs are a good example. The kobolds are a good example. But for the most part, because like we stated earlier, the city was never finished. As far as the Empire was concerned, the city was never finished because while they were still working on the city, gold, coal, and other resources were found on the opposite side of the Empire, and the two kingdoms that neighbored this city fell apart. So if it wasn't for the airships, this place would be abandoned.
Okay, so can I just make a guess here? So basically, they have immigration, but not so much as a foreign policy like dealing with other countries, because there aren't a lot of countries around them, and the bridges are down. So it's like they have a foreign policy, but it's theory.
Yeah,
and it's all paperwork because they don't have anybody to actually deal with. They don't have nations. All right.
Yes,
Okay.
you're correct.
All right. Yeah, I got one right. I'm ahead
While
of
there
class.
may be a ton of books on imperial immigration law and imperial foreign policy, nobody's had to use them in 150 years.
Because they're the only deal in town. Awesome.
So yeah, I think we've got this set up.
And anything else we can like do it on the fly while we're, you know.
Yep.
Woohoo!
See, this is how I like creating the campaign setting.
I'm really excited about this. I like this plan. I'm proud to be a part of it. Go get a raid.
See, I
so we can learn about world building.
Anything we're missing?
Probably. Can't think of it.
Undead. How do
What?
you deal with undead?
What?
Ooh,
Undead.
What?
a die 10.
Oh, you mean actual... God damn it, I thought you were talking about me.
Like undead beings, like undead.
Yeah,
Well,
I
it's not
know.
a Coliseum, so I'm gonna rule that pit fighting in taverns is legal.
Okay. That's interesting. That makes things really spicy.
And the other thing they do in taverns is WWE style fighting too.
Cage match?
No, right down to the famous wrestlers and all that shit.
Ah.
God.
You realize that some of the entertainer gladiators in Rome were paid the equivalent of millions of dollars a year.
Damn.
Well,
Yeah.
think about if Hulk Hogan actually turned into a big monster, or Andre the Giant really was a giant.
Makes sense.
See, we didn't cover a lot of
Or-
Roman history in high school. It was, I think
I
you
was
learned...
about to make the joke of, or if Minoru Suzuki was just completely insane. Oh wait, he already is. Never mind.
You could see them throwing benches at each other in the bar, and...
Yeah.
Because you mix magic into it, and
Oh my god, that poor bar.
who's the guy that runs WWE?
What's
Vince
his name?
McMahon.
Vince.
Yes.
Vince McMahon. Can you imagine how big Vince McMahon's erection would be if magic was real?
Wait, would this be a wrestling guild?
Oh, fuck yeah. Several of them.
So you could picture a couple of Vince McMahon doing the announcements.
I don't. For whatever reason, I keep thinking that the style of things would be less WWE and more New Japan. You know,
I don't know what that means.
semi-realism, but still a degree of showmanship.
Yeah,
And
semi-realism, but
a lot.
you would still have, can a dozen gnomes beat an orc? Can a dozen gnomes defeat an orc?
Oh my god. Or you'd have that, I don't know if you guys saw that movie, Storks.
I
Give me
didn't.
die
I
10
didn't.
real quick.
Actually, I just realized I just realized one film that I should have referenced beforehand when it comes to this sort of thing. Did anybody ever see A Knight's Tale?
Yes.
No.
I've seen A Knight's Tale years ago. I barely remember it.
Is that the one with Heath Ledger?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, that's the one where they actually used like modern day rock music in it and shit.
Yeah,
They
I couldn't
basically
watch
took
that.
the jousting thing and tried to make a sports movie out of it. The realism side of me didn't like it. The part that just wanted to have fun enjoyed it.
Yeah, there was that one, and that movie did use modern. That wasn't the only one of those movies like that used modern day music. There was the one that was about Marie Antoinette that was used a lot of that shit too.
Oh god, I know what you're talking about. It's
The one with Kristen Dunst.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't see
actually a
that.
good movie though.
I didn't see it, but it looked like a good movie.
It was actually a good movie. But anyway,
So we've got the undead, and I think.
Would that be common though, considering I don't know.
I'd say because we've already determined that magic is a form of science to them, that undead would be categorized. Legally, we have a huge legal code, a massive legal code. I think that undead would have been codified and legalized. So your non-sentient undead would be considered legally constructs.
Mm-hmm.
Or not beast of burden.
Ghouls, think about a ghoul. Ghouls eat carrion. So you've got all the spoiled meat and the offal from your fucking ranching. What's the greatest thing to have eat that? A ghoul.
yeah, your goal would be the greatest disposal unit possible for something like that.
Yep.
Oh,
And then,
Don't bet
when you
shit.
get up into your liches, which would a lich rather do? Build some fucking dungeon and attract idiots, or go into politics?
Oh, and Lich would go into fucking politics.
Vote for me, because when I was a young boy, I lived in the very district you did. I became a lich to further your interests in the government.
There's also the
Wow.
fact that a lich can't get that it's kind of hard to assassinate a lich.
Yes. Before my assassination, I worked hard for you.
I was the head of the union before the kobolds.
Vote for me. I'll work myself to death for you.
Again.
Again.
It's like this shit writes itself.
Damn. Y'all are harsh.
And you know how we've got the elegant Bram Stoker's Dracula?
Yeah.
What if we did that, but you want to talk about the ultimate in racists? Vampires don't do the massive breeding like you see in a lot of horror movies.
Right.
Yeah.
They're extremely selective.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They act like it's a club.
Yeah.
You know,
Please, can they be glittery?
no.
No.
Are you talking about the vampires?
Yeah.
No shiny vampires.
I didn't say shiny. I said glittery.
No sparkling
I did by
vampires.
saying glittery. Don't even try and weasel out of this.
But I will not be living in. My character will not live in a world that exists around sparkly.
The Vampire Ku Klux Klan.
Wow.
Most of them have, most vampires have their little cults of minions that, voluntarily give blood. So I say we treat each undead on a case-by-case basis.
Vampires are different from just undead.
Yeah, we go with the full gothic romantic vampire,
But and then that's the thing too is like, so what we're saying is we're talking about existing in a world that is perfectly comfortable with walking around town and seeing, oh, there goes Jimmy with his ghoul.
Yeah.
It's just normal. It's not even creepy. It's not even scary to see it. There's nothing weird about having a dude who has a rotting zombie as his fucking servant who's
I was
carrying.
just gonna say, there goes Grandpa Jake. Wow, he's one of the undead, and he fucking deserved it. That cheap bastard.
Yep, that cheap bastard didn't pay his taxes, and now look at him.
Oh, I mean, that's what you could do with the bodies of the bodies of the criminals. Is it's like, oh, we'll put these bodies on bid.
They're paying their debt. They're paying their debt to society.
Yeah.
Oh, this place is gonna get crusaded. No, honey. No. This place is not gonna get crusaded.
You can get people coming in there talking about, oh, everybody's bidding on
unions would
that
shut that
first strong
shit
corpse
down.
so they can use it for they can resurrect it and use that son of a bitch for a fucking, basically it's fucking slave to carry out tasks for them.
Oh my god, the union would be so up in that shit.
Well, no, it's like that motherfucker would be there for help. Like you got the dude that's like, all right, I gotta go to town. I gotta go pick up some shit. That's okay. This dude's gonna fucking carry all my shit.
You could rent a zombie to carry your stuff.
Wow. But the
I mean, but like the richer upper class people would be bidding on corpses to raise as zombies, and a good zombie will last you a few years,
The real upper class can afford the living.
Yeah. The middle class would go for the zombies, and they would probably be worried because those fuckers eat people.
No, they don't.
Zombies
Not
don't.
D&D.
Okay. Okay.
So they're under control.
It's only specific zombies that eat people.
You're talking about, this is more like imagine like the voodoo zombies, not the undead zombies. The
Okay.
voodoo.
Okay,
So I'm guessing
yeah,
you want them to be controlled.
yeah.
But now your ghouls are the ones that are feeding on rotten flesh and shit.
Yeah, but that's not like the living. That's...
Well, and then that's where your vampires come into play. Your vampires would be the ones that actually feed on the living, but they do it in a very tactful manner.
and they don't have to drain somebody to death to do it.
Mhm.
They'd have their cults. They'd have, they'd have plenty, They're beautiful. They're elegant. They live for centuries.
Oh my God.
Plenty of people willing to fucking
Like Queen of the Damned, they had cults offering themselves to these vampires.
You know, be like kind of like True Blood. You know, you got these people that
Fang bangers.
that's their thing is that they want to go and they like banging vamps. You know, that's their deal. So vampire be like, yeah, sure, I'll fuck you as long as you give me some of that grade A type O you got there.
Is consensual murder legal?
Ooh, consensual murder?
Yeah.
That would be like, oh God, what is
Would
it?
that be like assisted suicide?
That's what I was trying to think of. Euthanasia.
I'd say it would be equivalent to
Case by case.
as long as they can use magic to determine that you're not under duress. I'd say it's legal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Is the dragon gonna be a threat?
It's a fucking dragon, of course it is.
He's sleeping, and there's no telling when that fucker might just say, "Yep,
And there's no telling what he's gonna say when he wakes up and sees all this shit.
Your dragon is awake, and he's very disappointed.
He's gonna be like, so I sleep for hundreds and hundreds of years, and y'all motherfuckers turned this city into a shithole?
You made
And
the
it's
dragon
like-
a hillbilly? Really?
If this is a hinterland, what is the fucking capital like?
So we've established basically this is not the city you want to live in.
I do. It sounds pretty fucking cool.
He would probably destroy it.
Paid to be eaten by a cannibal. I'm thinking like an Armin Mel is where he paid to be eaten by a cannibal. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That would be considered legal.
Consensual contract. You know.
Lawyers all up in that shit.
Shit, why would a lawyer pass up on that? I mean, that's legal fees for them to get money out of.
Yeah, he could stretch that out for a month or two. Yep, I think we got a campaign setting, and I think we've got one with Strife that doesn't feel like these, oh, this is Kingdom A, it's everything about it is good.
This is kind of gritty.
Yep.
Well, it still fits in with our horror setting, too.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool campaign.
Yeah, Destroyer's right. The capital must be a huge fucking mess.
Yes, yes.
Well,
This is actually something we could reuse and go back to, just with a different, set of, or the same set of characters.
Or put different ideas in
yeah,
there.
this is something we could revisit. This is awesome. Yay!
wow.
A realtor.
Well, eventually, I guess whenever we decide to get to going to the Capitol, we'll sit down and have another session where we explain the Capitol.
Yeah, where we figure out what happened to the rest of the Empire.
Eventually, I'm gonna be a fucking kobold because that shit sounds awesome. It does, doesn't it? Come on.
Every time I think of the kobolds, the way the union system works, I keep thinking of like the whole style with like the whole Jabba the Hutt thing system works.
I get the feeling that if you...
I'm thinking of the old Teamsters from like the Godfather era, where they were just fucking with everybody. Oh my god.
If you ended up playing a kobold, you'd probably try and pass it off that the rest of us are just your bodyguards.
Could be.
I'm sorry, Destroyer. It'd be great to have you, man. He's like, I'd kill to play in this setting.
It would be a lot like Gangs of New York if you were a kobold.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's our session 0.
Yep.
If we forgot anything, I'm sure Ralts will go back and look it over everything and decide on what's going to be next or what to add, and then he'll take care of it and he'll post it and make sure everybody sees it. I'll get with Ralts on getting this shared out so people can see what the scenario we're going with is going to be. And then we'll go from there. I guess next session will be us starting an actual campaign.
Yeah, I would say Destroyer's right. Gang warfare is common, but not in downtown.
Oh, yeah. Well, the city, the downtown area is probably all about image. You got the fucking government keeping the guards, keeping shit in check out there.
Damn, this gives a whole new concept, because in D&D, normally the slums are just full of beggars and prostitutes. Here, you know, the slums look nice and everything, but the kobold, you know, don't step the wrong way, don't wear the wrong colors, don't wear the wrong shirt.
Don't apply for the wrong job.
Yeah.
Some racial perks we missed. I don't know, I mean...
Well, like I said, Raltz will fill in all those gaps that we missed tonight on his own time, likely. And then we'll go right into our actual first session where we actually play within this world. I'm sure Raltz will come up with something for us. You know, if there's anything else you guys want to add before we head out of here for this tonight, let me know.
I really feel like we all kind of contributed to this thing a lot more than the last campaign.
Yeah,
so.
we might add on some things, but other than that, it seems okay right now.
Previously we were working with Raltz, or like Raltz did everything. We all contributed in this. We've got something that's more fleshed out. And I mean, you gotta think, like, this last few series of sessions that we did before we had our month-long break was very much us still kind of filling each other out on how we like to play the game and how we're going to run things. So,
well, it was just nice to see everybody contributing and working together. It was kind of cool. So.
I appreciate all the input that you've given us, Destroyer, and everybody else who was in the chat tonight.
Awesome.
You guys really helped kind of flesh this out. I'm sure, like I said, Raltz will put everything up so everybody can come in and read it and see what kind of world we have ready to go. And we'll be sure to spread that out so people can read it that want to come into this that are new. We'll be starting the next session next Friday unless something changes. But as far as we go now, next Friday night around 10:30 or 11 o'clock, starting from there till 2 o'clock, we'll be doing the sessions. It just depends on what's going on with our times, because sometimes we're going to have those issues where we can't do it that day. If not, we will move it to the Saturday if possible. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by and watching the stream. Thank you for checking out and hearing us on Session 0. We'll be back next week. More than likely. I don't know if any of these character selections are going to change or not, because it sounds like Ramen might go Kobold.
No, not this game. I like my character. I already have her history in my head. So.
Ralph, do you think you'll be able to skim through that thing I sent you over the course of the next few days?
I will have to go over that with a fine-tooth comb. Because the one that I set up, I would really like to run, because I haven't done a tome style in quite a while.
Hold on, you guys can talk about that offline. Right. Let me go ahead and let this go, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll be back next week, and again, I will share out the information whenever we have it all written down for everybody to read. Take care, and fuck off, and thanks for all the fish.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Okay.
And you're clear.
Okay.
That was a really good session. I have very positive feelings.
Yeah, Raltz, what I'm going to do is, when you go in, you still have all the information to go in and change things?
Yeah.
You can go in, you can probably add a summary in there for this and put it for Session 0.
Okay.
And, you can just share out, once you put all this stuff in a place where everybody can come and read it, you can share it out to folks.
Yeah.
I think people will find
that Obsidian site.
So what do we call that what would we call that world anyways?
I don't know.
What would we call
London?
Empire?